Hello, everyone. I'm Nala.
And I'm Faith.
And this is the Siren's Den, your fandom podcast where we talk all things pop culture under the sun.
Today on our show, we are going to talk about the new Zack Snyder movie, Army of the Dead. Woo, 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 woo!
There needs to be an air horn option, but if not, I will provide it. Fwee, 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 fwee.
Or like a vuvuzela, those things, like an off-brand air horn.
Just slightly off-key.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was a trip. It was quite a journey. It's 2.5 hours long on Netflix, which is mostly due to Zack Snyder's love for slow motion, but also due to really lengthy plot stuff.
I do really appreciate Zack Snyder movies in the sense that he kind of takes an attitude of like, the plot is there, but it's gonna look cool as hell.
Yeah, it's very Michael Bay of him.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely values style over substance.
Which, you know, I don't hate that. There's a lot of people who hate him as a director because of that. I loved Baby Doll. That movie,
Sucker Punch,
or Sucker Punch with Baby Doll as the main character. That was a really fun movie.
Honestly, yeah, whatever.
It had a plot.
It was a good time for me up until towards the end.
Yeah.
Wasn't enjoying myself. But it was a fun ride.
Yeah.
So I'd give it a watch. I'd say, yeah, give it a watch, but take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
it's a very wonky movie.
And it's the same case here. It looks dope as hell. Like if you want some nice, hardcore, gritty action, violence, zombie sequences, this is 2.5 hours of that. And that's all it was ever going to be. That's what he wanted it to be.
Which, I mean, it did pay off.
So much so, right? So much so he's like, no, I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to direct it, and I'm going to write it. Like, he did all of it.
He took this whole thing under his supervision. He controlled this whole production. And it shows. He has put his stamp on all of it.
Yeah.
But again, it was well done. I did appreciate and I mean, we'll go into this more later, but it was very atmospheric. Like I did get into the atmosphere and the world he created.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, despite some plot points.
You know what it kind of did feel like? It felt like a zombie video game. Like it kind of felt like, because I feel like zombie video games, they usually have that kind of what the heck is happening plot-wise, just because it's just going to get bigger and more insane and like more stupid zombies because you're getting further in the game and they have to up the ante a little bit. And that's kind of what this felt like here. It kind of felt like kind of how the plot of Days Gone. That's another plot that just was like that it exists, it's there. They think it's an emotional plot, but it's not.
But that was I will say the frustrating thing about this is that because of the lack of structure in favor of all the cool stuff, when it did come to those big emotional moments, you were just like, okay, I'm not crying.
Oh, Dave Bautista died.
Bummer.
Oh no.
Before we get the spoilers. We're not at spoilers yet.
Oh, spoilers, Dave Bautista dies.
Yeah, so I mean, recommend. It was good in the sense that they did just go ham on all of it with the gore, with the just outrageousness,
which I appreciate. I think they did all of that really, really well. It was really well crafted violence.
I did want more neon with how everything was set up to be neon from like the poster and the fact that they are in Vegas. There was a lot of Vegas in the daytime, which is not the best Vegas.
Yeah.
It's like desert Vegas, and it feels like the end of Justice League, right? It's that orange.
Yeah. He's got his like signature brown tone color palette, which I guess is fine. The characters themselves were more colorful, but I do wish the atmosphere was a little more neon.
I think it's partially because I'm trying to think back. I don't think Zack Snyder is a huge fan of neon. I can't really think of a Zack Snyder sequence. Like it's always kind of that goes back to that kind of desert colors, right? Like
good point, yeah.
300 being really like they're in Greece and
right. And I haven't seen
the zombie
Sucker
one. the zombie one before he did in the mall. That didn't have a lot of neon. That was pretty white.
It was.
I guess I was just misled from the poster.
Yeah,
the poster's all colorful.
I think
so
it was
the
just
trailer.
some weird design choice, right? I think they were like, it's gonna be a heist in a casino, so we're gonna use this color. But you're right. I wish they did kind of pay off that more. I think it might just. I think it just might be that's not Zack Snyder's visual
and I mean,
style.
I'm looking back at Sucker Punch. I haven't seen Sucker Punch, but that was also a very like brown tone movie, despite how fantastical it was.
Yeah. He tends to kind of like those kind of more brown tone colors, or those more like the moody Twilight colors, as I like to call them. He tends to play with a lot of those, and I think that's just his style.
Yeah.
I almost it almost makes me wonder if the neon was just like a not his decision thing, if that was a marketing decision, right? Because the only things that we really do see in that neon are that title, the main title that we have there, and when they're doing the opening credits, they had the bloodbath. But they did it with those that kind of same kind of pinky neon for those. So
I don't know. Well, that's one of
things that were not in his control.
Yeah,
right. That marketing team was in charge probably of the titling and stuff like that.
Yeah,
stuff that he didn't have hands on was neon, because they went, no, it's supposed to be neon, dude. This is in Vegas,
right? And probably just like there's a small enough thing that he could like make that sacrifice and be like, yeah, whatever. The titles will be pink. Who cares?
Whatever. So before we get into the spoilers of this episode, would you recommend watching this?
I think if you're into some mindless violence that you don't have to think hard about, it's a good watch. It's a good 2 hours for that. If you're looking for plot, if you're a story person, you might not be a huge fan of this one. We talk about Marvel, how it's like the visual spectacle versus cinema. Marvel is not a visual spectacle. They like put effort into this. This one is more visual spectacle, and it's trying. That's what it's trying to be. It's not. And I'm not going to go so far and say it's not cinema, because it's just a variety of cinema that's more focused on making it look cool. So if you're in it for the plot, you can check out in this one. If you are in it for mindless, cool zombie action, you'll probably enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. We're coming at this as film students as well, so it's always frustrating watching movies that don't really rely on plot and just being like, but wait. So yeah, that's exactly my opinion too. It just really take the plot with a grain of salt. Just go in there for the killing of zombies. It is, like you said, a zombie video game to where you're like, oh, get that guy, and they're like, bam, and it's like, get that guy, and it's like, bam.
I really wish I would actually love this as a video game. This would be the funnest.
Yeah, it would be a really fun video game. I think you can, like, if you do want to create your own heist team, I think this would really go well in the video game format. But our producer says this is a B movie with a budget. Which
hardcore agree with that.
Essentially, absolutely what it is. It's what the horror genre always has been, especially with zombies. And you can tell
Mortal Kombat was very similar too.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat was very similar. These like campy, usually like crazy movies. Crazy movies like this.
So now this is going to be our official spoiler warning. Everything we talk about from here on out now is going to be super spoiler heavy. So if you care about the plot of Army of the Dead, check out now.
Check in to Netflix to watch it.
And then come back.
So the plot is, I'd say a zombie, just classic zombie outbreak movie. It starts off with, as good true cinema does, with some roadhead. Crashing into just no one was doing any type of road safety. An accident happens in which the zombies are manage to break out and infest the entire or most of the entire population of Vegas. And once the zombie outbreak is a thing of the norm is really when our movie starts. And it's just a classic heist film. It's very almost Ocean's 11-y, which is very interesting for a zombie movie because it's like it's it's not really about the zombies. There is the plot of it being a heist, and they're needing to be successful with the heist.
Kind of.
Sort of, because it turns out that it wasn't about the heist. It was about gathering the blood of the alpha zombies, which is really a frustrating point because that could have been the mission the whole time, but they had to bring the heist into it, I guess.
And she showed up 10 feet from the wall.
Yeah.
They didn't need to go even in any further. Like, they could have.
I know.
She's right there.
I am aware. Yeah, that's essentially the plot. I mean, we can get into what frustrated us about the movie, like the fact that part of the story happened when they first got in. Like, they encountered the big zombies when they first got in. It wasn't like a mini boss that they had to get through. It was the queen zombie, and he could have just taken her there and gone back to the quarantine zone, which was 10 feet away, essentially, and then have just gotten back to his boss, no harm, no foul. But they also had to re-encounter the zombie for him to, he chops the zombie queen's head off and doesn't leave still. He still goes back to help them with the heist for some reason.
Maybe it's just because of Bly Tanaka, which, by the way, that's such a good name.
I know.
But I think maybe he just, even though that the zombie heads were worth a lot more, maybe it was he really did really need that money in that vault. Like, that was his treasure. That's his dragon's hoard. And he's like,
I mean, I guess, yeah.
Like, he's been in all those U.S. government goons, and even Martin's like, dude, it's fine. It's not worth anything with this. Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, I need my vault money. And they're like, you don't even know the code. Yeah. You forgot it. And he was like, yeah, I didn't think I'd ever need to access it this fast and this quickly. And maybe he's the one, and Martin's the loyal subordinate. So even though he thinks this plan is really freaking stupid, he's going along with it because it's his boss, and it's okay, I guess he really wants his freaking vault money. And when he has that moment of the vault stuff and the vault money is worthless next to the queen, that's just him getting the frustration out of that he has to keep doing this to get the vault money, even though that's my theory. That's my take on it anyway.
All right, that's fair.
That's giving it way too much credit, obviously, but
So going into the characters, I mean, what really contrasted, like we said, Zack Snyder's more muted color palette was how colorful the characters were.
Yeah.
Both in their personalities and in their wardrobe as well. But I want to get in really fast before we get into the main characters. I just want to say we should replace every problematic actor with Tig Notaro.
Please.
In also, every movie, because absolutely fantastic. I loved her character.
And she did really, really good in that. With this, she didn't record with anyone else. They put her in a green screen after the fact, and they just CGI'd her over Crystalia.
Which one is really impressive.
Yeah.
I just want to also point that out. The visual effects were very good in this
There
movie
was always
well.
a little bit of a blur around her.
For sure, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But there's a blur.
But that lens you used helped, if we want to get into that lens.
Yeah. There's a blur around everyone, and they used a lens. There's a big behind the scenes of how he did it, because I think maybe that they're seeing what Disney is doing with the Marvel content and the Star Wars content, where they'll release the how it was made, which I am in love with those. I don't know if those are really popular at all, but I love them.
Oh no, they are. They've started releasing more and more, and I'm like, yes, give me that behind the scenes.
But I think they're starting to do that with these kind of things as well, and especially because they're gonna try and make a cinematic universe.
I guess, yeah. This definitely set up a lot. There was a lot of Easter eggs, mystery boxes in here to set up for more of this franchise that he's going to be doing. He's going to be doing, I believe, an animated series.
That'll be cool.
That takes place in Vegas. He's going to be doing
Lost Vegas.
It's going to be Army of the Dead, Lost Vegas. Then it's going to be a prequel to Army of the Dead called Army of Thieves. And then I guess maybe after that sequels, because they set up for sequels, and I guess they set up for prequels too. But yeah, he's setting up this whole cinematic universe, and he's been planting eggs, and it's been a little frustrating.
Too many mystery boxes.
Yeah, a little too many mystery and not enough answer boxes.
We'll get to mystery boxes, but let's get back to, so we got Tig. What do we love about Tig?
Yeah, so back to the characters. What I loved about Tig was just her character. She had a lot of the funny quips and one-liners. And again, yeah, just the fact that she did shoot by herself and still managed to bring all this character and all this energy, I was like, yes, let's go.
Luckily, it's the pilot who was off by himself the whole fucking
for sure.
day.
Luckily, she did play a character. A lot of her scenes were either, shots of only her or like very few shots where she with the group, because her character goes up to the helicopter pad to get the helicopter up and running for them to get out. Which is, it cuts back to her being alone. So her character fit very well, very seamlessly, honestly, into the rest of the film.
Yeah, thank God that the piece of crap that they casted was the piece of crap that played the guy going off by himself.
Yeah, and not another central character. But honestly, she deserved better. I don't know if she's dead, but helicopter crashes.
I feel like this is one of those movies.
It did hit her not in the heart.
Yeah, it was
like it hit her shoulder, and it's one of those in movie world. Shoulder injuries don't kill you.
I would absolutely love for her to continue on in this franchise. Because anything, sign me up for anything, Tig Notaro. This is our Tig Notaro love hour.
I would love to see her just in more action stuff in general.
Absolutely. She killed those like badass aviator roles, and like with the freaking cigarette or cigar, I was like, let's go. Absolutely.
And I will say, I do feel like this is one of those movies that even with all the gruesome deaths, it's still kind of a ridiculous zombie movie that probably has universe rules that they're just going to shell out at convenience. So I feel like if they want to bring any of these guys back, they can figure out a way to justify it, and it won't matter. No one's going to be like, what? That's impossible with this universe. Like, because I feel like the people who are invested in this universe aren't going to question the ridiculous stuff like that, right?
Nope.
It's like when you watch like a ridiculous anime, you just kind of learn to roll when it just goes off the rails.
Yep, you just roll with the punches. Just suspend your disbelief heavily.
Yeah.
Other characters I really enjoyed was the safecracker. I always love that person in a zombie apocalypse that really should not be alive, but is somehow still surviving despite
until he doesn't.
Well, but we don't know that he didn't die on screen, which is, we've seen a lot of characters die on screen.
That is true. He is the one that would be the most easy to bring back into the fold, so to speak.
I mean, he was like Army of Thieves is probably going to be about him, maybe, because he seems to be a pretty well-established safecracker. But I also, he has proven himself capable of actually killing zombies. He is a sharpshooter. So maybe he found a way to survive, which would be awesome because I really did like his character.
I loved how they hung a lantern on it. And he's like, no, he's just a good shot. Don't worry about it.
It is fun just seeing how these characters, like all these different characters, how they approach a zombie apocalypse, because some are like absolutely upset that they are here. They're like, life sucks. And there are people who are, like doing trick shots and like actively going out and getting these zombies and being like YouTube famous because of it. So that was really funny to see. Going on to, the main character, Scott Dave Bautista. I absolutely love Dave Bautista, and he did a great job in this movie. He deserved better.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of those cases where like Dave Bautista acted the heck out of a script that didn't really give him a lot. Like his character was very bare bone. Like you've seen that guy, right? Like take whatever generic he was a former mercenary, and then he joined the military.
Of course, he joined the military. He's got to have that weapons training.
Yeah, and then now he's poor. Like,
now he's flipping burgers and wants to get out of it. Like he says, like dying on the strip would be better than like flipping burgers. So he's one of the people who's like miserable with their life right now. And I guess they get their release by the end, but still, it was one of those deaths that it's like it wasn't earned so much as the situation. Like people made choices that just made the situation unnecessarily worse, and because of that, the dad's dead.
Yeah. Are we talking about her daughter now?
Yes, we're talking about his daughter. I wasn't the biggest fan of his daughter. I thought she was a fine character, but I thought
Dude, she just like story, fucked off.
Yeah, her story really just did not hold up to everyone else's story. Like when she came onto the team, I was like, okay, what is she adding to this team? Because everyone else that has been brought on had clearly something to offer, but she just wanted to.
Yeah, like I think her story and why she wanted to be on this team, it was definitely the human element of it. Like it was definitely like she's in it to rescue her friend, and even though there's when they introduced that and that she was going to come into that, I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's like that they could do this well. This could be, she could like really kind of prove herself and like show herself as just like, she's just where her dad is this kind of mercenary who's like run away from everything. She's just not mercenary, but she's like so like go get him and like determined to do this thing that her dad is gonna like kind of like come around by seeing how just determined and like to face this problem and rescue her friend that her daughter is, that he's gonna like face his own problems and kind of deal with that, and then that didn't happen.
Yeah, I feel like this movie could have easily been them getting contracted to get the queen or the vial of the alpha blood, them maybe succeeding and then realizing that there is another mission that wasn't part of the original one, which is to rescue this friend, and that could have still brought the whole like zombie hunting element. And it still could have been done in a hotel in Vegas. It didn't have to be a heist movie, which is another one of the frustrating things, because like they could have done, it just seemed like it split off into multiple different movies that could have happened.
Yeah.
And they do touch on this a little bit, which this was a thing I was very confused on, but I guess found interesting, is when they were in the safe and before
Vermont
wiki
It's like Vermont or Vmont. I'm pretty sure I think it's V something Mont.
Sweet Lord. He has a big chainsaw that he cuts zombies down with that he didn't really use.
He did. So that's one of the plant and playoffs Chekhov's things that did come around. He used it to because the one bad guy locked him below by the safe, right? Because he broke out and I've tricked you bitches. And like, why did you even? Anyway, so the bad guy who came with him, right? The security dude, he locked the gate behind them.
They used it
to do that.
Awesome. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for chainsaw zombie killing. He did not use the buzzsaw to kill zombies, which is honestly what I was here for. He killed zombies with a buzzsaw in the opening credits of this movie, which is honestly another movie in and of itself.
Yeah, we'll get to
which we'll get to later. But, I was really bummed. I wanted him to use that buzzsaw to kill some more zombies, and that did not happen. But when he was in that safe, they found those other skeletons, and they were dressed the same way as the characters. Like one of them had a necklace with a key on it, and that's the same as the other character was a necklace with a key on it. And one is wearing a Hawaiian shirt, same as Tig Notaro's character. And he's like, we're just stuck in like a perpetual endless loop where we're doing the same thing and like trying to get the same thing all the time. And I was like, okay.
I almost thought he left so many Easter eggs in this movie. I almost thought like, maybe this is a time loop movie.
I mean, that might have been a plant for him to be able to bring these characters back, because if they've clearly died already and they're back, they can do it again. So it's like the character with the key on her neck is one of the other fridged characters. She gets her neck snapped.
Whew. So one of the things I kind of talked about earlier, it kind of felt like more of a zombie video game, and just that they kept like upping the ante with just these ridiculous zombie types. So there was a zombie tiger that I love. I love that. That's just such, and it's also just such like a Vegas zombie like fauna, right? Like the zombie video games, they always have like, oh, there's a zombie bear you gotta deal with, or there's a pack of zombie wolves. But you can't really do that in Vegas.
It's gotta be a zombie tiger.
But Vegas does have tigers,
and it's Valentine. It's one of Siegfried and Roy's tigers, which is, I think, hilarious.
Yeah, that's a really good joke. Also, apparently they had Carol Baskins come in to consult on the CGI tiger.
They spent a lot of time on the tiger for as little you see it, like in the post video. They like
Carol's
out
going into movies now.
Well, this was actually before Tiger King because
true facts, very true, very interesting.
Because she was a conservationist, and she's a famous conservationist.
Wow.
The martial arts zombies. I want that in a video game. Enough with the screaming women ones that summon more zombies. Give me a martial arts fighting.
Give me a
zombie.
nunchuck wielding zombie.
Yeah.
Then we'll talk. Zombie like archetype of this one really had no archetypes. Zombies really were a wider range.
They were whatever they needed in the moment.
Yeah, they were plot zombies. Just anything that sounded cool to Zack Snyder. He was like, let's do it. I don't care if it makes sense. Horse zombies.
Because he rides the horse zombie.
Yeah, he rides the horse zombie, which again somehow matches the speed of a flying helicopter that they famously use to get people to the hospital quicker. Because flying over stuff is faster than being on especially destructed ground.
Well, Nala, you gotta understand that the horse is a zombie. So
I mean, yeah, you know what? I stand corrected. Why didn't you start with that? I mean, that just answers everything. I have absolutely no more critiques.
So, yeah, they also, one of the things I do like is I like that not all of the zombies were mindless monsters. That there's these ones that are intelligent.
Yep. Which honestly made me think about how little there is zombie material of zombies being not intellectual, not Professor Zombie, but
because they
being able to still communicate.
Because when they kind of had that reveal when they start going in of there's these alpha zombies who are smart and are running the place now. I was almost expecting oh shit, that's gonna be who they are. They're fighting it. We have a heist movie. Oh my god, it's not gonna be their dumb zombies that they're going up against. They're going to be going up against smart people, so they got to rethink this heist, and it's going to be kind of a battle of wits between the zombies and the... Why would it be that? No, of course not.
Because that is too much plot. I mean, I just don't understand why the whole thing couldn't have been in their lair. I don't know why the hotel couldn't have been the Olympus. I don't know why the heist couldn't have taken place there. And they still... It would have made sense. Yeah, they did go ham with some of the stuff, especially, the gore. But they missed a lot of things for it being in Vegas. They didn't really put too much of the fact that it's in Vegas.
Yeah, I would think that the appeal, because when it comes to a good zombie thing, I feel like the environment that you do it on, really adds to it. And I think one of the, things that, kind of sold it on us of, oh, shoot, heist movie in Vegas with zombies, Zombie Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's so cool. And they don't give us any of that. You can't. It's like having it'd be like doing a zombie thing in Washington D.C. and getting none of those fallen landmarks, right? You being able to show off this visual landmark that everyone recognizes, and now it's ruined because there's zombies. That adds weight to it, even if it's a dumb zombie movie.
Would you get the Statue of Liberty ones? He stands on top of it and kind of does a Batman.
I was more thinking Planet of the Apes.
Planet of the Apes is a good reference. And then there's one more zombie we need to talk about: the robot zombies.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Oh my god. Of course. Whew.
There actually is a quote on Zack Snyder about the robot zombies. He's like, yeah, we put some of them in there, and it's to get the audience to question things are they robots that zombies made? Are they something else are they there just from the government to watch the zombies? It's really to get you to
once again too many questions, not enough answers.
No one's gonna think about that, dude.
We're only gonna be confused about that because that's what I was. I saw some of the zombies have glowing eyes to begin with, and I was like, whoa, what is happening actually? And then they went full Terminator and shot off one of the zombies' faces, and they were a robot. And I was like, what? Have we switched movies now? What's going on actually? So that was, again, it's a crazy ride if you're into that kind of stuff. I guess Zack Snyder has also talked about the robot zombies probably being introduced in the prequel, in the sense of, I think the prequel, because what is the timeline of the zombie? Is it like a few years of?
Yeah, 6 years.
I think.
Okay, it was 6 years. So they still have that universe of there being zombies to play on for prequel stuff before the events of Army of the Dead. So that's cool. But I guess what he said is they have made zombie robots to infiltrate the zombie horde.
That's like, it's like, he was like, maybe they're aliens, maybe they're this, but he was like, it's just something to think about, and it's like, no,
we don't want to think about it.
You got to put it in the movie, dude. I'm like, you don't get to just like, you got to listen to my comments on my Twitter.
What was that one movie? It was one of the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movies.
Shaun of the Dead.
No, not the Shaun of the Dead, but
my favorite movie.
World's End.
The World's
my
End.
favorite movie of all time.
Yeah.
World's End.
Maybe it's like in that same universe, except like the aliens who come in World's End, they ended up in Vegas, and they're like, oh well, I guess we got to make some adjustments here, and that explains the Blue Blood.
Which starts Shaun of the Dead.
Which starts, it all. It's the middle one between those movies that connects the Simon Pegg Nick Frost universe. Simon and Pegg and Nick Frost are obviously in this movie. They're the
Nick Frost.
They're the martial arts zombies.
So, I mean, I guess we can talk about some other things in this movie, like the opening title sequence. Zack Snyder is, he's known to do these really elaborate title sequences that are honestly like a movie of its own, and that he definitely delivered on this one. It was, he did a good job of visually being able to tell what is happening. However, the thing that did bug me was they had shots of these characters holding up family photos on like a photography background with like lights, and I'm like, okay, what is that? What is that about? They didn't show all the characters, for one, and it just never came back, and it was, to me, very pointless. But the rest of it was fun. Seeing this, we followed this woman who starts off getting like a bus and just like rescuing people who are about to be attacked by zombies, and she's just like super badass and is shooting zombies down. Is like starting up this team of other people who are shooting down zombies, and it's really cool. And then it's kind of telling the story of what happens in the aftermath. You get the Elvis zombie in the opening sequence. It's set to Viva Las Vegas, which I thought was, obviously fun.
A little bit more of an appropriate choice than Zombies by the Cranberries.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
What?
Why?
It's like if there was like a high school movie and it was like the romantic, like the nerdy boy kisses the prom queen and Pumped Up Kicks is playing.
Yeah. It's like, I don't think that means what you think it means. But, and then in the end, I thought she was a main character. But, she goes into this, they have built, with shipping containers, they have basically closed off Vegas to the rest of the world. And they're all trying to get through the shipping containers to the other side. And she's, she gets attacked by zombies, and she's telling the little girl that she rescued to just like go, but the little girl comes back and like hugs her, and they're hugging as the last shipping container is being dropped down on them. And then the end title sequence ends with them being fridged into and crushed by a giant shipping container.
I was so mad about that.
Ay.
Like, especially because that like opening like just kind of story with her, like, she was, I think, no offense to Scott and Dave Bautista, but she was significantly more interesting of a protagonist.
And I was like, I don't know why her story couldn't have been Dave Bautista, because again, that was a way to get a lot of exposition out, and they did not use it on any of the main characters. They gave us this character that they instantly killed.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, you took this like really badass character, and also just like in the zombie genre in general, we don't really get a lot of protagonists that aren't the macho guys, right? Like that's just, I think that's kind of been like one of my biggest turnoffs with that kind of genre is that it's kind of a boys' club, and I think this was kind of another example of that. Like we kind of got this really cool who would be a really interesting protagonist, and like a really interesting protagonist who we've never seen before. No, we're gonna crush her. She's not even gonna die by fucking zombies. Or no, hold on, she's not even gonna die by frickin' zombies.
Yeah. So speaking of how I guess like jarring and gruesome that initial death scene was, because it was also involved a child. A child also got crushed by the shipping container. Huge bummer. The loss of this really cool female character that I was like, awesome. If we get to see more of her in the movie, that's cool. And then we didn't. We're going to go into fridging because, this movie could have been an appliance store with all the fridges they were selling.
It was a straight up, it wasn't even a fridge at this point. It was a walk-in.
It was a walk-in freezer. Full of dead bodies.
So when it comes to fridging, kind of the definition of it is when usually a female character dies for just the pure angst and emotion for the male protagonist, right? So like the little girl and like the chick at the beginning, not like it was still there was still like a big sexism flavor there. Like it wasn't, I will admit, it was not technically a fridge.
It was a shipping container.
But it was a shipping container. But then, like, not even that soon after that, or not far after that, we see Scott. His tragic backstory is, surprise, surprise, he had to kill his wife in front of his daughter.
That's crazy.
Which again, kind of going back to like, he's a protagonist that we have seen so many times in like so many different zombie movies, and she was not, and that would have been a lot more interesting, but whatever. But yeah, he had to kill his wife in front of his daughter, and that made him a super sad boy because he had to kill his wife.
If that wasn't enough, his second chance at love, in the form of one of the people he asks to be part of his team, also gets fridged in another horrendous way. She, after declaring, that they love each other and it's all going to work out, they're going to find a way to be together and it's going to be a fun time, the elevator door opens and a zombie just goes and snaps her neck. Completely around the other way like an owl. And she just, sinks to the floor. And they cut back to her on the floor with her snapped neck. Yeah. It was and a tear rolls down her eye, and it's a very creepy shot. But I was like, why?
I mean, it's not like she was a just as trained military person like everyone else here.
Really,
who, like, are we really gonna kill the girl who's like through a love confession, guys? Like,
I don't understand. The elevator door opens. Who else were you expecting to be on the other side? Like, yes, she is also just as trained as them. They have fought side by side. She has proven her worth early on, yet when it comes to her being face-to-face with a zombie, she does not have the quick reflexes to, one, back away, or two, raise a gun and start shooting. As soon as you hear the elevator ding, everyone is there. Except for, the daughter, which we'll talk about later. But, like, come on. She just stood there, and I was expecting her to do something, but she stood there for like 5 seconds just staring at this zombie, and the zombie was like, okay, I'm just going to snap your neck then.
But yeah, so the Zeus, our smart boy zombie, smart boy zombie man, he had a girlfriend who was the alpha queen. We never know her name. Doesn't matter.
Just queen.
Yeah, she gets her head cut off because that was the mission apparently. But then he finds her and he's like, I'm sad and I'm gonna kill them.
Yep, classic fridging.
He
also turns her over and checks in on his zombie baby. That I was also like, big yikes. What's happening here? Do zombies even perform?
Yeah, well, it's kind of goes back to like when
alphas are alive.
There are alive, but I mean, it's kind of like, okay, the baby itself, like the zombie queen was fridged, but like the baby, it's like there are a lot of different like sexism flavors in this, fridging being one of them. She's a child bearer being kind of another one that comes up in zombie films a lot, which is really dumb, and just sci-fi in general. And it's just
like, it's the only role she was reduced to, even though she, I think, was more capable.
Yeah,
she was way more cool as a character than Zeus was.
Yeah,
she was way more interesting.
And it just, again, they introduced like these are smart, capable zombies. These have a potential to be really just active threat antagonists, and that didn't happen. And it's just.
And I really hated the scene. I don't know why he had to rip the child out from her stomach. Is it because they can survive outside? Like,
it's how else were we gonna know that she was with his child? Like, we have to know that not only did his love of his life died, the love of his life died, and she was pregnant.
We do a lot of watching people die. Like, everyone watched her get attacked when they were outside. The trick shot guy, I really thought this. The trick shot guy, he's watching his friend get eaten, right? He's showing that he can do like 4 zombies in a row because he can he's a good shot like that, right? And here's your opportunity to show that skill. And that skill doesn't come out.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because, Chambers also got fridged, which Chambers was one of the lesser...
You're right. That's another one.
heist member. And she was a badass. She had, this red bandana on. She was in full makeup. Like, if she's going to slay zombies, she's also going to slay that winged eyeliner.
Yeah.
She's probably going to slay the zombies with her winged eyeliner. But... unfortunately, she didn't because, one, she got tricked by the jerk character that turned on them, the traitor character.
Martin? Is that his name?
Yeah, I think so. But still, was able to get a few good licks in. She did have a cool fight scene where she just took down zombies by herself. Mm-hmm. She obviously got locked in a door and was like, that's fine. I'm going to bust through a window then. And was great. And yeah, absolutely. She was a few feet away from the rest of the team and no one helped her.
Yeah.
0 people, especially Trick Shot Guy, who, created his whole fan base on YouTube from the fact that he can kill zombies super efficiently. Just like, nope, didn't. And instead of, shooting a zombie, he instead shot the canister of gas that was on her back, and she exploded, taking out a bunch of zombies, sure, but she still exploded, and it's not a good time. Mm-hmm. I really liked her character. I liked several characters, and I was really bummed with how many died, and especially how many died so gruesomely and got fridged.
And I feel like when it comes to kind of media and content like this, like just it's like kind of the Game of Thrones rule, right? Where like it's gotta be shocking and bloody and but like it doesn't have to be. Like, we're gonna be more invested if we watch characters continue to stay alive, right? Like,
it gets to a point where the more and more characters die, the less and less you actually care about finishing the movie.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, then why did I waste my time caring about these characters if every single one of them is going to die? Essentially, no one from the heist group, like we think by the end of the movie, survives. And then by the end, you find out that, the buzzsaw guy got bit, and he is now a zombie, and he managed to escape despite the nuclear fallout of the bomb that leveled Vegas. And now he's in Mexico City, and it's obviously going to be a more global issue. Mm-hmm. So, and then I guess the coyote, her death was pretty cool because she gets a steel rod through her shoulder. She was a pretty awesome character that did hold her own towards the end, but it was a lot of those things where like a lot of the reasons they got caught by the zombies is because they were just chilling. Like they were not hasty at all.
She had all the time in the world to get on that helicopter, and she just like stood there and they went, I'll hold him back. And it's like, get on the goddamn helicopter.
I don't know why because she threatened to like blast the queen's head, if her decapitated head, if he like backed off, and she was like, go and I'll hold him off. And I'm like, okay, but you can also go to the chopper as well. You have feet that can also carry you. Like, what are you doing? And then, she eventually gets killed as well. And, the queen, if she didn't get fridged already by being decapitated, definitely got fridged when her head was thrown off the side of the hotel and just completely turned into just jelly. It seems like Snyder is setting up a greater universe than just zombies. In the very, very beginning, when they're leaving Area 51, it's a blink or you'll miss it type of thing because it blends into the rest of the setting sun. And you think it's like stars or like maybe the moon or something like that, but there are 2 lights in the sky that just zip by. And they're UFOs, so they're already setting up aliens in this.
Yeah, the fact that they're leaving Area 51 when Zeus escapes is like something extraterrestrial is going on, whether or not that's Zeus is an alien or he got exposed. He was a pilot who got, because he does have dog tags when we first when he first escapes that. So like maybe he was an experiment with alien stuff. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Maybe in this great cinematic universe it does, but not for this story.
I think he could very well have been infected by some extraterrestrial matter, and that's what causes this disease. Because when he gets shot at the end by Scott, his head explodes, and it's not just red blood; it's also these like blue goo also gets
because he's actually a robot from World 10.
We don't know, and we don't get any answers. So this part is just talking about the stuff that we got that has no answers, but it's probably going to be something to set up the rest. They're going to be like bringing in these new concepts and be like, but if you watched in the original Army of the Dead at 3 minutes and 41 seconds, you will see this, and it'll explain everything. The one thing that, again, I'll go back to the robot zombies because that was another little mystery mystery egg box, was just robot zombies. And I was honestly, that was one of the things that made me audibly go, why? Why?
Because it's cool.
It was cool, but like then...
It took me out.
Yeah.
So it could be, again, setting up a thing for the prequel, talking about how they made robot zombies. Because I guess you don't need to be super, it doesn't need to be super advanced robot technology.
In the Zack Snyder interview where he was kind of talking about them and what they could be, all the examples he listed are that makes no sense. That's did the zombies build them? Why would they need to? They can just bite a dude and make another zombie. They don't they're gonna we this is unethical. We need to respawn in a more ethically that doesn't hurt. No. Maybe the government made them to keep an eye on the zombies. They're gonna nuke the place. And also, if that's the case, why didn't they just turn on the zombies when they're trying to get the thing that they want? Why did they even need to send people in there if they just had zombie robot moles that could just do that? And then you're not risking anyone because it's a zombie robot. And also, if they are zombie robots that the government infiltrated there, they've already figured out how to infiltrate this place. So that makes no sense. Maybe it's aliens. Okay.
Well, that's my favorite theory, because maybe there are aliens that they got the technovirus version of that because they don't have a problem with the normal infection like we would.
Yeah, maybe it's just aliens being oh, we should keep an eye on that. Which again, it's just okay.
Yeah, a lot of the questions, it went to a point where when something new was introduced, I was like, yeah, why not? Sure. Let's go. Let's continue. Well, I mean, all these questions will probably be answered in the new Snyderverse that Netflix is gearing up to, with the shows, the animated shows coming out and the prequel stuff. We're going to be getting hopefully a lot more questions answered and not more questions asked. I hate when they do that.
I mean, we're never going to get these questions answered.
Probably not.
I feel it in my bones that whatever comes out of this, like that they try to explain it with, is just going to be like, okay.
Oh, that still doesn't make sense, but okay.
But if you got a topic that you think we should look at, you can comment on our Facebook page or send us an email at sirensdenpodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at The Sirens Den. Be sure to catch future and previous episodes on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts.
Thank you to Ty, our producer, and Sean Thomas at PlusStudio.com for our theme song.
We'll catch you next time.
Until then, stay safe, everyone.
Bye!